will overcome. I know that I will overcome. I'll praise until his kingdom come.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Zachary's Kitchen. It's glad to have you back. It's been a long time since we have had you. So what I wanted to do is fix the camera first, and we're going to kind of go ahead and tell you what we're going to do today. So what we're making today is a nice apple pie. And where I got this recipe was actually online. It's Chef Gordon Ramsay's recipe, so you know it's going to be good. The first thing though that I was worried about when attempting this recipe was, hey, it's a big task to live up to that famous chef. But after I made this the first time, it was easy and delicious. So what I've already went ahead and did is I took 4 Granny Smith apples, peeled them, and chunked them up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit of ground cinnamon to my sugar. So I have a half a cup of sugar in this bowl here. And I'm going to add a little touch of nutmeg. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to caramelize these apples. So I'm going to use my hands here. I'm going to go ahead and mix this sugary sweetness up. And I'm going to even go ahead and drizzle a little bit of honey in there because I think that would be delicious. So I'm going to put a little bit of honey here in my apples. Just about like a tablespoon. I don't want to overdo it because we're already going to be adding some sugar in there. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this sugar and evenly distribute it in amongst the apples. Get this all worked in together. Get those a nice coat of the sugar all over our apples here, evenly distributed. So now once that's done, they're going to be nice and covered here. And what I'm going to do, rinse off, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take half a stick of butter, and I'm going to split that into 2, so about 1/4 a stick. And I got my pan heating up here. We're going to throw these apples in here and caramelize them. I'm going to do it in 2 different halves, that's why I'm using 1/4 of a stick of butter. 2 separate batches just to kind of even this up. So why don't you guys sit back and we'll take a break here. Alright everybody, we got our apples well and caramelized. So what I did, setting them in this bowl here, I'm going to allow them to cool down. But those turned out pretty well. What I want with those is I didn't want to get them too soggy, so I didn't cook them too long. But just to the point where the outside is even soft, the inside it still has that little bit of crunch. That's what I like in an apple pie. Next thing we're going to do is prepare our sweet crust here. And this crust is a little different. It's not a flaky crust you would suspect, but it's more of a sweet, almost a sugar cookie-like crust. So I have a whole stick of butter here. I kind of quartered it up and make it easier. This recipe recommends that you do it in like a food processor, but I don't have that here. So I'm going to do what I usually do, and I'm just going to mix this sugar here. So I have about 7 tablespoons of sugar. I'm going to mix this up with my butter here to make a nice little, just until it kind of forms together. And that's what you want. So we'll go ahead and we'll whip this up real quick. Alright, so we got this all beaten up all together now. So it should look nice and blended together like that. One thing that I'm going to do different from the recipe is I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla in actually to give it a little bit of an extra good cookie flavor in that crust. So just a couple drops there, maybe about a tablespoon. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to take my large egg, crack that bad boy in there, and I'm going to begin to mix that up into the butter. And you don't want to overdo this part with the butter and the sugar. Just kind of give it a couple blitzes together. And what you'll see here now is a little bit softer of a butter sugary mix. I just want to make sure I get it all evened up in there. Because the next part we're adding in is our flour. And that's what's going to give us our crust here. And this part, since we don't have something like a stand mixer or a processor, can get a little messy. So that's why I say, hey, use your hands, get a towel. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and just slowly add in our flour. I have about 1 3/4 cups here, so almost 2 cups of flour. Just do a little bit at a time. Gradually mix that in until it starts forming our hard ball. And, oh, that looks good. And hey, why don't we take a break while I get this all put together, and I'll show you back with our final product. Alright, so we're back. It was actually a pretty easy mix. I did end up using my hands a little bit. So let me just show you. So I got my ball of dough here. I'm going to kind of go ahead and flatten it out, but you can see it's very moist. What I did also while I was doing, I added in a tablespoon of water. It does get a little too crumbly, but go ahead. I like to flatten it out. What we're going to do is we're going to chill this about a half hour to an hour, 45 minutes, wherever you want. And then we'll be coming back to roll out our dough, place our apple filling in, and we'll be on our way. Quick and simple recipe for a beautiful, delicious apple pie. Alright everybody, welcome back. So we got our crust done cooling down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it out of the bowl here. And probably take about half of it out. I'm going to save the other half for the top of the crust. This is coming out kind of a little strange. Maybe could let it cool a little longer. It's been about an hour. But we're going to go ahead. So I've lightly powdered a surface here with some flour. Put some on top here. And I'm going to start rolling out my crust. And the key for this is to keep your crust cool. So it's a little easier to work with that way. Alright, I need a little more here. Like I said, it's good to have it cool, a little easier to work with here. I could have probably cooled this a little longer. I don't want to roll it out too thin because I don't want the crust to be too thin. Alright. Nice crust going here, a little bit sticking on the rolling pin here. That's going to happen every once in a while. Just want to make sure it's wide enough. Maybe throw a little more down here in this corner. The thing is, if I use too much now, that's okay because I'm going to cut it around the edges to trim it up. Just want to make sure I have enough. Looking good. Also, I hope you guys are enjoying this video. Trying to trim it down a bit, just like this crust. To make it a little short, I know some of my comments have been trying to make it a little shorter of a video, a little quicker, concise, and I think I'm trying to do that to please my fans. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to set this down. Perfect. I'm going to take out a butter knife, or whatever knife you want to use, and we're going to trim. Just trim around the edges. To get that perfect circular piece we want there for the bottom of our pie pan. I'm going to go ahead and remove the excess crust, put it back in with our other crust. Perfect. Here. Take it, sure get it all. I'm just going to roll it all onto the pin here. Beautiful. That's there. Take my pan, and I'm just going to allow this to sit on in there. Beautiful. So now, I mean, it didn't go the way I wanted it to really, but it's in there. So we got the bottom of our crust in the pan. I'm going to slightly push it up against the edges. And perfect. I'm going to add a little bit of spots in there because it didn't turn out the way we wanted. And that's okay, folks. That's okay. I might add a little bit more up on these edges here just because I wanted to have enough to be able to hold this in. So go ahead and form your crust like that. We'll be right back. Today we have our little helper Alan who's helping us get this pie ready. So I'm going to show you, this is what your pie is going to look like. It's a little bit pieced together. Doesn't really look amazing. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take our pie filling. So it's apples that have been sitting here cooling. And I'm going to, actually, beforehand, I'm going to throw a little bit of cornstarch in there. Just slightly sprinkle some. This will help prevent the moisture from these apples from leaking through the crust. I like to rub that a little bit on the corners up on here. That will just help keep the crispiness and prevent sogginess in your apple pie, which is something I really recommend. So I'm going to go ahead and look at that. It looks beautiful. Wonderful. Let all the juices get in there. Kind of pat it around a bit. So after that there, come over here and show you. So we got our nice apple pie there. And what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to roll out the remainder of our crust to top off this pie. I'll show you what we come back with. Alright, so we went ahead and put our top pie crust layer on. I really am kind of quite embarrassed to show you the final product. It kind of was pieced together at the end here. Doesn't mean it won't taste good, but what I went ahead and did is I added an egg wash to the top, sprinkle some sugar on. So our oven's set at 375, so we're going to allow this to bake for about a half hour, 40 minutes in the oven until it's crispy golden brown. Thank you once again for joining us. I'll have pictures of the end product. I really appreciate you guys tagging along. Please like, subscribe, comment below what you'd like to see next. Obviously this didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. My only second pie I've made. I planned next time to possibly make a little more dough, so I'm not using too thin of a dough where it breaks like it did for me. But I keep on planning on trying. That's what this is all about. You're never going to get good at anything if you don't try. One day you may see me on a famous baking show making a pie and winning. But you'll remember this pieced together apple pie may look like garbage, but may taste delicious. That brings up another point. Some days, hey, you're not feeling the best. You may be like, hey, I don't like the way I'm looking today. But you're delicious on the inside. And that's all that really truly matters. I want to thank everyone for tagging along. And around this holiday, I just want to say I'm thankful for you guys, my friends, my followers who are here supporting me. I'd like to thank my beautiful fiance Rayanne for supporting me, for allowing me to make a mess in our kitchen every time I bake. I'd like to thank Alan. I'd like to thank Franklin and my family. I am grateful for every one of those people and the opportunity that I have here to make them proud by being a great bake, by being a great family member, a fiance, and a student. Happy holidays to you and your families. Thank you.
That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. That's the way